Hi YouTube, welcome back. I played in a tournament this weekend and I tied for second. I won $300, I mean 266, and I broke 2,000 again. So pretty good. I didn't lose any games, but I drew 3, which is really weird for me. But yes, 1,800 floor. Well, it's important. It's important because he used to be 2,000. Okay? That's what that means. So I didn't stream it because, I mean, honestly, I think I play a lot worse when I'm streaming. You know, not just online, but over the board as well. What will you spend it on? Well, I already spent it, really. I spent it on this sick backpack. I mean, I did a little prep opening-wise, but, you know, not important. What is important is that e4, c5, bishop e2 was played. And, it's a move, but it wasn't one I was super familiar with. I wasn't too worried about it because, I mean, when your opponent plays a move like this, sure, it may be fine, and there's probably a point to it, but, I mean, it's passive, so, I mean, I'm just gonna develop my pieces, put things in the center, and castle, and I'll be fine. Okay. Alright, so we have bishop e2, f4. And this is a thing, I guess. Apparently the point is to... It's like a closed Sicilian, but they don't have their knight on c3 yet, so they can play c3 and d4. Apparently, I was not aware of this. So I just developed my pieces. I think g6 makes sense against closed Sicilians, Grand Prix, all that jazz. Knight f3, normal, bishop g7. Okay, and c3. So this is the idea. But the thing is now, this is a common idea in the Sicilian. When they play c3, the knight cannot go to c3 anymore. So knowing that, it's black to play, what's the best move? I played this kind of instantly, almost. I can get my score sheet to see. This was the only game I played that wasn't on a DGT board. Yeah, I spent no time on this move. Yeah, d5. D5 is the best move because now when he takes, you can take with the queen and you cannot be chased away. And because the queen can't be chased out of the center, I mean, there's no real problem with it being there. And if he follows it up with d4, I can just take, and I mean, this looks pretty miserable, I think, because I have no problems. This bishop will be even stronger now. I mean, he can't really play d4 right away anyway, but you get my point. Like, even if he does at some point, he'll probably be left with an IQP, and I have no weaknesses. So, d5, we're gaining space in the center, and we're not being passive. So d5 is a good move, although I went over this game with someone, and they were trying to tell me that d5 was not good here. And I should play d6, and I was questioning it because while the person was a master, it went against everything I knew. So I'm glad that I did not just believe him, because d5 is based. So yeah, as I said, taking doesn't really make any sense here. e5 maybe is okay, but because I haven't played e6 yet, I can probably just play bishop f5 or something. And again, I have no problems. The computer says knight h6, okay, or bishop g4 is good. d4 is also good. My opponent played d3. Let me turn the computer off, this is getting annoying. Okay. Okay, so anyway, I mean, I'm not afraid of this. It probably makes more sense to wait to play this after I have played e6. Because then you have a plan of playing knight d2, maybe, like, well, not here, but if I follow it up with this, then maybe you have knight d2 to e4 to d6 if e6 is already in. Does that make sense? But, okay, he played d3, which, if you have to play d3 after a move like d5, then d5 is obviously good. This is not what we want with the white pieces. I mean, we're very passive. We're turtling up. Our only pieces developed are inside of our shell. And he had to do something about it because this was attacked. But now I pose another question to you as, you know, what to do with black. Again, I made the best move pretty quickly. I think it took Daniel like 10 tries to find it, but it was just natural to me. So what do we think? How to respond to d3. Fringe likes d4. Princess Autumn likes rook b8. We have knight f6. So the problem with the move like knight f6, I should say, is that, okay, now you're playing e5 with a tempo, which is really annoying. Because, okay, I mean, if I go here, e6 should be considered, but at the very least, d4. And now his position is starting to actually make some sense. And now I'm stuck in like some sort of weird French-like position that I would rather die than play. And I thought that was annoying, and I did not want to allow him to just solidify his center like this and gain space. Pavlikich likes knight h6, preparing g5. I don't know what that means. Knight h6 looks good as well. If you understand why I didn't want to allow, you understand my move. I did not want to allow him to fix his weird, stupid passive center. So therefore d4 is the best move, because now he can never play d4. And in a lot of cases, he's just stuck with this backwards pawn on d3 if he trades off the c-pawn or if he plays c4. He doesn't have very many squares for his pieces anymore. And now, even if he takes, he's still not creating a square for his knight. And because he doesn't have the e3 square for the bishop, it's kind of hard to develop the knight before the bishop, unless it's doing this, which is again hard to do because of b5. And I just thought it made sense to gain space when my opponent is playing passively. And just like making the light squared bishop look pretty dumb as well. And if the knight ever goes to a3, I can take on c3. So basically, I'm putting 3 different pieces in the gimp suit with one move. So this is quite good. How was e5? I don't know. But okay, d4 is good. So my opponent castles. I mean, what else is he gonna do? And now I made like a slight inaccuracy. And it does make sense. Why? I played e6, which, as I pointed out, allows the plan of knight d2 to e4 to d6, you know, with e5 in. But for some reason I was giving myself an extra move. Like, I thought I was going to be able to do this in time. So like, when he plays e5, I play knight f4, so he can't even play knight d2, but that's just not correct. To be fair, I just played the move pretty quickly, but now knight f6, because this is just dumb now, because I can put my knight on d5, I have a new square for my knight, and he can't follow it up with d4. And he doesn't really want to play a move like c4. It's just sort of sad, but probably that's what he has to do, because this knight is just sitting on his face. But e6, yeah, it's committing a pawn before I need to. I kind of figured my bishop was going to b7 or a6, so that part wouldn't matter, but yes, he should play e5 and knight d2 to e4 to d6. He played king h1, which is just sort of a automatic close Sicilian player move where they don't really think about what you're doing. They just do what they do with their pieces and attack you. and hope it works out. So I'm not really worried at this point. Knight e7, queen e1. Again, e5, knight d2, knight e4, knight d6. That's his only plan. That was the only plan I was seeing in the game as well. Every move I was expecting it, and every move I was surprised not to see it. My position is still good, mind you, if he does that, but if he doesn't, like, what the hell is this? Alright, so here's another, what I think is, like, semi-critical position in my game. All he wants in life is to attack me on the king side. But if I haven't castled king side, that's kind of hard to do. And I find with these people that if you just prolong castling kingside as long as possible, I'm not saying keep your king in the center, but just wait as long as you can to castle, they don't know what the fuck to do. Because that's their one thing. So here we play b5. There's no immediate threat to open the center at my king, so there's no reason to be afraid. He has 3 pieces undeveloped on the queen side, and while queen e1 sort of took care of one problem with his knight not being able to move because it undefends the c-pawn, now if he moves it, I might be able to take and play b4. And that's a whole nother issue that he has to think about. So b5 is, again, preventing development, but it's doing many things. Other than that, I'm getting my bishop a square on one of these 2 squares. I'm getting ready to just gain space on the queen side, and open files for my rooks. Maybe put my queen on b6, who knows. So he doesn't know what to do, because he was gonna put his pieces over here and hope for the best. But my king is here, not here. So bishop d2 is pretty obviously bad, because it's not really developed there. What white needs to do here is play e5, knight d2, knight e4, knight d6. That is the only plan in the position. There's just nothing else that you can possibly do. Maybe interesting is taking and playing a4, but I wasn't worried about this because I wanted to just play b4 anyway. Same thing if he plays a4 in this position, I wanted to play b4 here. And I'm still not allowing development from either piece. And probably it'll transpose into this line. But now I have the c-file to work with. He has backwards pawns and it just looks ugly. His bishop is ugly. It's almost like a stone wall. Like, that's how bad his minor pieces are. So, okay. So bishop d2 is just a nothing move. a5, increasing pressure. Again, I don't want to castle until I absolutely have to. So here he goes knight a3. This was the point of his move, was so he could develop a piece. But there is a problem with this. Yes, he can play knight a3, but it's not very good. Yes, we are on YouTube. For some reason, my alert box is not working. So I have to play bishop a6, which was my point of a5 anyway. I can put the bishop on b7 here and play a6, but my opponent's not really doing anything that would stop me from just going even more forward with the pieces, if that makes sense. I'm also kind of keeping an eye on d3 with my bishop on a6 in some cases, with like a trade here. And I am preventing his idea. I thought I was preventing it. I actually thought c4 was a mistake here, but it's actually the best move. Knight a3 is, well, I say it's not very good, but it's probably what he has to do. It's just a bad position. It's what he, yeah, it's fine. But I mean, e5, knight d2, knight e4, knight d6 is what you have to do. Okay, but a5, bishop a6, pretty much every move I've played so far has been best. And yeah, c4, I semi-expected, but I also thought it was a mistake. But it's not. It's the best move. But that's how bad his position is. Because now I can just take on c4. Take again. I'm giving up a bishop for a knight, but it's a closed position, and look at what I'm getting in exchange. I'm getting a passed d-pawn, and an open b-file, and I have, if he plays b3, I have a hook. Maybe. And again, his pieces are all bad. I mean, this bishop is so very sad. This bishop is dumb. I think that one of his minor pieces, like their best hope in life, is to be able to be semi-useful blockading something on d3. That's the best bet I can see. So now my bishop is just set up to play on the queen side, and that's what I will do. I played rook b8, which is like the first move I played that was not best, but it's still fine. Better is to just castle, which is okay, sure. I'm probably not getting attacked at this point anyway. We've traded off a pair of minor pieces, and his queen side is just so open that any attack he gets will probably not even be fast enough. So castling is fine. I think the computer also liked d3 here, and I considered d3, but it's a move that I thought I would always be able to play, and I didn't see why commit to that before I was absolutely sure. So yeah, d3 is something I can play, but it's I mean, it's hard to blockade. Raid incoming. Okay. Monkas. So rook b8 is fine. And he played this move. And this is the point in the game where I gaslit myself for 30 minutes. I attacked his b-pawn, you know? Like, I was expecting him to defend his b-pawn. Obviously b3 doesn't work because of d3. So I was trying to make a d3 more enticing. So, but rook b1 is what I was expecting. And at this point I probably just castle. Maybe I play a4, not sure yet. But f5 I thought looked like the dumbest move imaginable at first. Right? But I thought for 30 minutes, well, 29 minutes on this position. And it's a little infuriating because it works, like, in many of the variations, I come out worse or losing. And the insanely annoying part is that I know he didn't see any of these things. He even said it was just like a Hail Mary. Just mindless aggression. So I had to do all this work and try and figure this shit out. So here's your question. Can you take on f5? If so, with what? If you cannot take on f5, what do you do? And that is what I thought about for 30 minutes. And I ended up gaslighting myself pretty hard. The annoying thing is that one of the pawn captures is not good. But one of them is just fine. I just sort of gaslit myself. And I kind of gave him way more chances than he deserved. Up until here, I've played the game perfect. Almost every move I played was best. I'd want to throw in d3. See, CL Smith, I just don't know. Like, why would I do that unless... It's a move that's always going to be available to me. I don't want to overextend my pawn unless I'm sure about it. So, E takes f5, G takes f5, or something else. And I think that the more natural move is G takes f5, in my opinion. So that's what I spent more time on. I briefly looked at E takes f5, knight takes f5, bishop d3, check, knight e7, and I was like, there's things. And I was like, okay, hold on, let me just calculate G takes f5 first, because that looks more natural to me, to just have like pawns in front of my king, taking towards the center, yes. Okay, I should also say this does come with a threat. I cannot just ignore it and play rook takes b2, because f takes e6, and now knight g5 and I can't castle. E6 is really hard to defend, and white is getting compensation, whether I like it or not. The position is equal, but I think this is very hard to play. And I was better, so I don't want an equal position. Thank you for the tier 1 subscription, Earth. Earth will split. Also thanks everybody who's following. This is not my current rating. I went up to 2021. So this is annoying, right? Because my opponent spent no time on this. I know that it shouldn't work, but sometimes some of the variations it does. So, all right, let's look at g takes f5. This becomes very difficult. So, e takes f5, knight takes bishop d3, and okay, the obvious threat is taking my knight. This is pinned. So I have to play either knight e7 or knight d6, and there's a problem with both moves. And I found this to be unbelievable. So if I play knight e3, or did I say knight e3? If I play knight d6, I don't know why I said that. If I play knight d6, which is the more natural move in my opinion, I'm defending f7, keeping an eye on this pawn, maybe. What does white play here? This is white to play and win. Or at least have a winning position. Also, yeah, if I castle here, this is also important to look at. White is winning here as well. The piece I am lacking in the position is a light squared bishop, so that should kind of give you a hint as to where my problems are. My problems are on the light squares. So here, actually, queen e4 we'll give that a double exclam. And white is completely winning. He is attacking the knight. He is threatening g4 because the knight is pinned to h7. So if I play knight b4, of course we capture first. Doesn't matter what he takes back with. If I don't take, he takes my bishop. And then g4, and black can resign. So this is one thing that I had to see. Knight d6 was, I thought, more natural. But knight d6 just loses to queen g3. He's attacking the bishop. I cannot castle, because look at this shit. I mean, he can probably play bishop h6 right away, and the only way to defend the bishop is queen f6, which just obviously looks bad, because I'm putting my queen on the same file as the rook. My knight is hanging? I don't know if he takes it or not, because the bishop's hanging. But I don't have to explain why this position is bad. This just looks hideous. So castling isn't going to work. If I play a move like bishop f6, again, I'm putting more shit on the f file, which is already vulnerable. Bishop f4 is the winning move in this position, because the knight is pinned, and it's double attacked. And what am I going to do? Play bishop e7? My bishop is being very silly. And at this point, I think several moves are good, but whether I'm lost here or not, the position is awful, and I don't want this. Okay, so what about knight e7? What is wrong with knight e7? This was what I found shocking, that this was this bad. And I was getting increasingly frustrated here, because this was my longest think of the game. I thought for 30 minutes here. Well, I mean in the position we're analyzing, not here. I didn't reach this position. So the problem with knight e7 is knight g5. Attacking f7 twice. Attacking h7 twice. And in some cases, attacking e6. Because in some cases when the queen lands on e6, like I was seeing that my knight is hanging. And if I play rook f8, like, okay, he just takes. If I move away again, he just goes back. If I play rook f8 again, he at least has a draw, but he should just be winning. I mean, maybe queen h4. and I shouldn't have to explain this either. My king is in the center, and everything is loose. These bishops are actually being useful for once. And I'm not down upon it. Feels like I am, but I'm not. So I was getting angry at this point because f5 just looks so stupid, but it's working. It's not working, but I convinced myself that it was. And I thought for, I think, like 25 minutes about g takes f, finding all those stupid variations. And then I forgore to go back and look at e takes, which is the best move. I briefly looked at it for like a second, and then I was like, I don't know, this position looks crazy in my head. But like, I'm just gonna castle. And then I'm just up a pawn. And of course, if I can't take here, I have to address the threat of f takes e6 followed by knight g5. And I was getting increasingly frustrated because I couldn't find a way to do that. I mean, in some cases, f6 is even a threat, with a discovered attack on my bishop, opening up the f-file. I mean, playing bishop h6, stopping castling. There's so many things I have to consider here. And it's just very unfortunate when your opponent just plays a move just to see what will happen, and they don't calculate anything. And then I scared myself into thinking it was okay. So I played e5, which is stupid, because I can just take that. But I thought it was the only way to stop f takes e. I thought castling was also not going to work. I don't remember why. Castling is probably also fine. Maybe I just didn't like the look of this. But I don't understand why I would like the look of what I got better. So this is definitely a psychological fuck-up on my part. And after e5, I thought knight g5 will be played, and I thought I was probably worse. And I thought I have to play h6, and I'm just getting attacked, and this is awful. e5 is bad for a number of reasons. Like, I'm shutting up my bishop. I think it was just fear-based. I just didn't want these anything to open up towards my king. But I really made it a lot worse for myself than it was going to be. So e5, and then my opponent just immediately takes on g6, which is not good, like, at all. It loses most of the advantage. Knight g5 is what you need to play here. And I was going to play h6. I think the computer the computer wanted f6, and I saw this position. I was like, I don't know, this, at least I'm getting like an open h-file towards his king, and he's lower rated, so, I mean, okay, he has 2 bishops and I have 2 knights, so that's not ideal. It's kind of hard to coordinate my pieces in any useful way, but I thought that, I mean, he'd fuck this up because I have this passed d-pawn that he has to worry about, and an open h-file. And I wasn't happy with this. I was a little mad that I don't even have knight f5, because that was a tactic I was looking at, but it just hangs my knight on f6. But okay, I mean, he takes on g5. This is what he should do. And this position sucks. And, closed position, is it really? I don't think it is. I mean, the center is closed, but I don't think the position is closed. I think the bishops are better here. I think he's just gonna kill me on the light squares and the dark squares and the f-file. And I just got very lucky that he just wasn't thinking and played this brilliant move, brilliant practical move, just completely on accident, because then he just takes on g6. It's like, okay. And then I made another mistake. What should I take with? What would you take with? The h-pawn, the f-pawn, or the knight? And because I spent 30 minutes on the previous move, I kind of played this one too fast, I think. The h-pawn looks natural for sure, and that's what I did, but that's not good. It's like the worst, well, not the worst way. It's second best. Yeah, h takes knight g5 again. And I saw this. ahead of time, but I thought it was my only choice. Like, I don't think I even really considered taking with the knight for some reason. It makes sense. The knight was not doing anything here. I'm gonna castle, and to be honest, I just didn't consider this. I don't know if I even would have played it if I had. The position is strange. And again, I mean, this position's not great for me. It's just better than what I got. I took with the h-pawn, and he plays knight g5 because now it's actually making a threat. Knight g5 in the previous position is stronger, but it doesn't make a one-move threat, so I guess it's harder to see. And in this position, rook f8 is forced. And now white has a draw if they want it. They can play knight h7, knight g5, knight h7, knight g5, knight h7, knight g5. And I wanted to win, so knight h7, rook h8, knight g5, rook f8, knight h7 is played. And I can take a draw here. But I thought that my practical chances would be quite good, even if my position is bad, if I can just somehow keep playing. I played rook g8 here, which allows knight f6, actually. And I have to take it, and I have to play like rook g7 and knight g8, and this position is, again, bad, but, I mean, when you're the higher rated player, you kind of have to do things like this. And this is what I was expecting, and if I lose, I lose. Like, fuck it. It's my own fault for getting into this position. But then my opponent played knight g5. And the thing about rook g8 is that it actually does have a very, very important point. And you cannot continue to force a draw when my rook is on g8. And this was my hopeful idea behind it. If I play rook h8, if I play rook f8, like, we can keep repeating. But the point of rook g8 is I was hoping for this move. The point of rook g8 is I'm now defending the bishop on g7, making f6 possible, and after knight e6, my queen and my bishop are no longer forked because the bishop is defended. And that was my point. And this was my little try to try and play for a win, and this is what happened. So I got lucky here. Wait. Yeah, in this position. So queen d6 is good. And bishop g4 is good. So the thing about this position is that, yes, white is better, but not by much. And also white has to find like only moves in order to keep the advantage. Otherwise it's like equal or I'm better. Because maybe this position doesn't look like much for black, but it's the possibility of getting huge momentum in the center and just doing a pawn wave. And in fact, I cannot wait to show this game to Brian Wall, because this actually turned into an exchange sack pawn wave, which is his signature little thing to do. He's the exchange sack pawn wave guy. Okay, and at this point, f5 is best here, but I found that move was practically losing. I thought that move lost practically, and I think that's right. I don't think that I am prepared enough to play f5. I think that this is just admitting to being worse and just getting slowly outplayed in an easier position. My move knight d8 makes it a lot harder for white to hold on to the advantage, and he only held on to it for like a few more moves. So knight d8, trading off this annoying knight on e6 that's just sitting on my face. I take with the rook. Yes, my pawn on a5 was hanging. Yes, he has a passed a pawn. But b4 needs to be played to keep an advantage, really. Otherwise, what will happen in the game will happen. So b4 is very strong here, because I can't take this because of the rook b1. And this is like plus 2.5 for white. And he's just gaining the pawn back and opening like 17 bishops towards my king. And I can't get counterplay like this. But b4 is kind of a high-class move to see. Because, I mean, you can't take it. But I don't think I was ever in any danger of my opponent finding b4. b3 is more natural, defending the pawn in a passive way. But now the position is really not that bad for me. Like, yes, white is better, slightly better, but not by a lot. So rook f8 is played because my only plan in the position is to get my pawns going. That's the only way I'm going to win this. So queen g3 seemed like a nonsense move to me. I don't know. Bishop h6, finally fixing the bishop on g7. This is a common idea in many openings. The bishop was staring at a wall. Here it is much stronger because it's complementing all of these dark square weaknesses. Also, I could be getting out of the way of the h-file, maybe attacking. But another thing that bishop h6 does is, again, preparing f5, because the only point I could find to queen g3 is that he's pinning my g-pawn in some cases. So, okay, queen d3. He did this maneuver to blockade my pawn with the worst blockader. The queen is the worst piece that you can blockade with because it's worth a lot. So almost any piece attacks it, it has to move out of the way. Rooks are almost as bad at blockading. So the position is already equal. I have already equalized. And at this point, I really didn't have any doubts that I was going to win. Because look at my pawns. Like, I mean, he's not going to know how to deal with this. I do want to see how much time I had left at this point. You know that feel when you play 5 games and come home with 8 score sheets? I play a lot of chess. That means that a lot of my games were over 60 moves. So I have 14 minutes left. I do have an increment for once. But my opponent has 25, so it's like kind of a big time difference. So I play this move. My only real point to it was that I want to play f5, and I want to have the intermezzo of playing e4 before I recapture. And that was the only point to it. But this is a bad move because of... Well, I mean, regardless of what he plays, I don't think it actually was a threat. Like, okay, say he plays a3 and I play f5, bishop f3, and this my pawns are not going anywhere. And if that is the case, then this was a waste of a move. That was kind of not something I anticipated. I mean, this is a diagonal retreat, the hardest moves to see in chess. The good news is that my opponent played bishop f3 right away. He retreated his piece immediately, and I was like, oh, okay. But the good news is that I haven't committed to f5 here yet. So now I am fixing my mistake. I'm putting my queen on a much better square. And again, it's equal. I was worse for like half a ply. If he plays a useful move, this move is not useful. a3 is good, b4 is good. Queen h3 might be good. Light squares. But okay, queen a6, attacking the bishop. And trading off the dark squared bishops is not such a big deal to me because all my pawns are on dark squares. So that bishop was never going to be fantastic anyway. I know that was the point. But okay. I think I skipped over an important point. Yeah, the computer wanted to play king f7 here. I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was kind of funny. I thought that was like the least human move on the board. I mean, I'm connecting my rooks, but that's all about that. All right, so skipping to where we traded the bishops. Now I get f5 in, and my life is not so bad anymore. This position is, I think, hard to play as white, regardless of strength. Well, not regardless. Obviously, if you know how to play chess, you're like a GM or something, you could do this, but my opponent lasts no moves under the pressure of f5 and immediately blunders. See, I put that double question mark in. The computer doesn't say it's a double question mark. I think it's only inaccurate. But I thought it was like a game-losing blunder. I was very happy to see queen g5, because now I can play queen f6, just trade the queens off, and push my pawns. The position is equal, but practically, I mean, I don't know how else to emphasize how good my pawns are. But okay, he trades the queens, and I think what he didn't see is that after takes rook e1, I do have rook e6. Because if he plays bishop d5, I can just take it, play rook e7, and I get to continue defending my e-pawn. And now here's the crazy thing. Yes, he can win the f-pawn, but now I go king d7, and he cannot take on e5. If he takes, I take, I play d3, d2, and rook e1, and he can resign. And I actually saw this, because I think I had to think a long time here, because, okay, a lot of my moves are forced. And I was kind of panicking at this point, because originally I was like, okay, I just do this and it's fine. But at first I didn't even realize my f-pawn was hanging, so I had to spend time figuring out if that was okay. And it is okay. So I play rook e6, and my opponent does not play bishop d5, he plays bishop h5, which is even worse. I didn't anticipate that move at all. It's just forcing my king to a better square. And now, if you remember my position, like, a few moves ago, I couldn't be happier with it right now. Everything is compact and in the center, and my pawn wave is going to happen. He has some passed pawns, but they're not going anywhere. Where's the exchange sack? Well, I'll show you. So g4 is an interesting idea, but now I play f4. I do not mind about g5. g5 is threatening this move. It's also threatening this move. Bishop f7. Well, kind of. I played king d6 here. Okay, it says mistake. Black is still winning. It just wants to play knight f5 and not allow this nonsense. But I thought it was actually simplifying. I thought king d6 is a simplifying move. Black is still winning. And here's the thing, actually, about this. If he has to take on e6, then I am correct in my evaluation of the position. He shouldn't take here. In fact, he has rook takes f4 here. I think I had, what move is this, 40? Yeah, I'm under 5 minutes at this point. This is actually the last time I wrote down my time, so I went under 5 minutes. So I'm playing pretty fast. I have a picture from this game, actually, because it was the last game going, and there were about like 40 people watching this game. So I allowed rook takes f4, unfortunately, and if I take, this is a check, and I'm losing, so I can't take that. I have to play e4, and then again the position is equal, but I'm the one groveling for a draw now. So this would have sucked if he saw this. But okay, taking and black is just winning. So listen, I was correct that I did not need my rook, and that his bishop is his best piece, and I was kind of welcoming him to take my rook. I just didn't see rook takes f4. And I think I became aware of this because I remember spending a lot of time here and getting very frustrated. Oh yeah, I remember initially I wanted to play king f5, but that allows rook takes f4, which I saw here. If I take with the pawn, he takes my knight, and this is... I'm definitely not winning at this point. And if I take with the king, I'm losing. Maybe losing. Probably losing. I mean, I could keep some pawns, but it's still pretty bad. So I remember seeing that at the last second. It scared the fuck out of me. So I played rook f5, which is a blunder. Better would be to play knight g6, just preventing h4. But again, I have no time, and I just, like, what the fuck? Just trying to keep all my pawns guarded at this point. So the reason this is a blunder is that after h4, he has compensation. Like, his pawns, like, I have to spend time worrying about his pawns now. I'm not losing, but I was winning. And now, like, for the next 4 or 5 moves, I should play rook f8. just, why did I put my rook here? I need to put my knight or my king. But I also thought that it was not possible, and I was stressed out. Okay, so I played d3, which is best. Basically, the point of d3 is, I gotta get my little pawns going. That's how you win. And I would like to lure the rook away from the e-file so I can just play e5. And then I can bring my king in via the dark squares. And that's not nearly as difficult to calculate. Also, knight c6, knight d4. Yeah, possibly. I think I might hold off on that for a while, if possible. I just don't know where I want my knight yet, and I feel like it's equally close to a lot of different squares, so... rook e4 was a shocking move to see, because you're not getting behind my pawn, so why are you doing this? And again, I have to go backwards with my rook f8 or rook f7. But I did not do that. Knight g6 is okay. It's equally good. But okay. This is the most critical point in the game. This is black to play and either win or lose. I only have one move that wins, and everything else I'm losing. So think for a little while here. The good news is I did not play the right move, but I still won the game, which is kind of funny. But I was playing on increment at this point, meaning that you get 30 seconds every time you make a move, and I had no time other than the 30 seconds that I was getting to make each move. George, you are incorrect. F3 loses on the spot, but thank you for trying. Also, thanks for the Twitch Prime. Now, I actually kind of gave you a hint about this, if you were paying attention. Yes, so here's the thing, though. Here's the fucking interesting thing. One of these moves loses, and one of them wins. Now, why? Because in the other positions, that was not the case. Why does one of those moves lose? One of the moves takes away a square for the pony. Rook f8 to threaten rook h8. I mean, rook f7 threatens rook h7. He can push and push some more. So, in order to know, we have to just sort of play it out. So, okay, if rook f8 and rook f7, I think the move we have to look at is h5 for both. We can look at rook f7 first. So, rook f7, h5. Where pony go? Yes. But rook f7 might get hit with g6. I mean, that's the basic reason. I mean, if you don't have to calculate anything, you could just say that, I mean, I'm just going to put my rook as far away from you as possible. Far away from you and your bullshit. So, rook f8, h5. Here, we have king f5, threatening to take the rook. And if he takes our knight, we have rook h8 or taking on e4. If he moves the rook, like, where does he want to go? Like rook e3? Then rook h8. But in the case of rook f7, he's attacking my guy. And I also cannot check him to get my rook out of the way with a tempo. So that's fucking annoying. I played f3 like George, because I am not very good. My idea behind this move was that eventually I would have some sort of sack on h4 and drawing the king far away. But, I mean, the rook is defending now, which is something I probably overlooked. Okay. He immediately blunders. King g3 is just winning. Like, I'm just lost. I don't know. I don't remember playing this move. I think it was just a move I played instantly, but... I mean, this move just makes no sense. Like, I don't know why you would ever play that. So, now we have a position where I actually played the right move, and it's black to play and win, but it's, I mean, it's just sort of obvious. So I did get very lucky. I'm surprised this wins. King g3, d2. Well, if you play rook d1, then I'm winning, but you're not gonna play rook d1. I mean, like, just go here. What now? I mean, I'm... like, I saw this, but I also, for some reason, was thinking that I would have knight h4 here, and then this, and now he can't play king f2. But, like... okay, but this is ridiculous. Yeah, d2. And now it shows, like, why is the rook here? He's not getting behind, he can't get in front. If here, then I push. Same problem is happening. I will play e1, he will take, I will go here. Now, I like how I finished this game, at least. We got our queen. We gave a Chekaruski. And, I think there was one interesting line that I should have shown at some point in time. I just don't remember where it was. I don't remember. But anyway, I ended this game with a bit of a... I was very happy. I played this move so slowly. I just kind of like, just slowly played king f5. And I wrote my move down and I took a sip of water. Because this is a fork. I'm forking the king and this is a checkmate threat. So he did this and then he resigned. One final tantrum, you know. So the good news is that, yes, I won the game, but this was by far my worst game. I think. No. Well, it depends on your definition of worse. I think this was my worst game. But we were just warming up, as they say. Oh boy, do I have a game for you this next game. Oh boy.